This is another TYSK report, and of course, this is the #1 place to get the tech news that you miss. But before we begin, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe, and let's go ahead and dive into our first article talking about robot worms. This robot worm digs for geothermal energy in your backyard. Bow Robotics, a startup from Switzerland, has developed an autonomous drilling machine dubbed the world's most powerful worm that promises to make harnessing geothermal heat cheaper and more accessible for everyone. At just 13.5 centimeters wide and 2.8 meters long, the compact boring robot can silently burrow just about anywhere. It could make geothermal a viable backyard energy source. The machine, nicknamed Grabowski after the famous cartoon mole, is the world's first geothermal drill that operates autonomously, according to the startup. Sensors in Grabowski's head mean it can detect which type of material it's boring through. If it bumps into a water spring or a gas reservoir on its way down, the robot automatically seals the borehole shut. And unlike the diesel-powered drills typical to the industry, the machine plugs into a regular electrical socket. However, Grabowski's humble frame has a few drawbacks. The device is less powerful than bigger rigs, it's also slower and can only dig to a maximum depth of 500 meters. But for Bow Robotics' target market, that's more than adequate, it says. Bow Robotics wants to tap the burgeoning demand for geothermal heat pumps. To curb emissions, the EU has committed to installing 43 million new heat pumps between 2023 and 2030 as part of the bloc's €300 billion Repower EU plan. Due to their small size, Bow Robotics says its drill is very resource efficient to produce and maintain. Given the EU's chronic shortage of heat pump installers, an autonomous drilling robot may be a welcome helping hand. Despite the apparent potential, it's still early days for Bow Robotics. Founded in 2023, the company is currently developing its first working prototype, fueled by its first major pot of funding. It looks to test the robot in real conditions this year. Alright, so it's not too often that we hear about robots that are built the way the Grabowski is built, but this definitely seems like a very useful tool that is going to help out the EU a lot and bring that geothermal energy that they're looking for. 2025 seems like the year of a lot of testing and technological advancement, so this is the perfect year for Bow Robotics to get started, and I do believe once they put this into motion and they find that it is very successful, they're going to be able to build these out even more and put them all around the EU to the point that people in Europe won't even notice this thing moving around within their backyard or underneath the ground that the people are walking on each and every day. Also, it's great to bring you articles like this where different companies are working on technology, and we talked about humanoid robots a lot and also cobots and the different companies building those devices, so it's always refreshing to bring you something new and something that we both were not familiar with. So I look forward to hearing more about Bow Robotics and seeing what they're going to do next, and I'll make sure to keep you informed if any other news arises from this company. Now, since we're speaking about technology related to a cylinder body, let's go ahead and talk about Blue Origin and their rocket. Blue Origin successfully launches New Glenn rocket into space. Jeff Bezos' spaceflight company Blue Origin last Thursday launched its new mega rocket called New Glenn into orbit for the first time. The rocket lifted off at 2:03 Eastern Time on January 16th from Cape Canaveral, Florida, and crossed the official boundary into space a few minutes later. Shortly after, a second stage burn placed the rocket's upper section into orbit around the Earth. While it was the rocket's inaugural launch, a number of things went right, and the company had said that reaching orbit safely was its main objective. However, the rocket's first stage exploded on the way down to Earth as Blue Origin attempted to land that section on a drone ship at sea. The company hopes to launch again this spring and plans as many as 8 New Glenn launches this year. The successful launch kicks off a new era for Blue Origin, which until now has been stuck with a rocket called New Shepard that is not designed to go into orbit, which limits its usefulness. Blue Origin needs New Glenn to succeed in order to build a solid launch business and take on Elon Musk's SpaceX, which has dominated the industry in recent years. Blue Origin now hopes to use New Glenn to launch satellites and other spacecraft, including some that it is designing for the moon. The company already has contracts with NASA, the Space Force, Amazon's Project Kuiper, and others. So that's just some of the latest news related to Blue Origin and their rocket, and I'm sure they are very happy that they were able to finally get that New Glenn rocket out into orbit, and this could definitely be the first step for Blue Origin to continue to capitalize off this successful and proud moment that they had. Now, with that, as stated in that article, they're definitely going to have to put in a lot of work to compete compete with the likes of SpaceX because it seems they are very far ahead, and not only SpaceX but the other companies in different countries who are also launching rockets out into space. So all in all, this is great for Blue Origin. We shall definitely see what happens next. It seems like they're headed in the right direction. They also have those partnerships with NASA and the Space Force. So I'm thinking even if SpaceX continues to do well and be dominant within the space, I'm sure Blue Origin is going to be right behind them or right neck and neck with them as time moves along. And who knows, maybe they have something up their sleeve to where it's going to propel them to make those next 8 launches more successful than the one they just had. Let's move on to the next article. Air taxi flies in downtown Shanghai pilotless. Chinese flying taxi company Ehang Holdings flew its pilotless passenger eVTOL vehicle for the first time in downtown Shanghai. Ehang also officially launched the test operations of its H216S flying vehicle on sightseeing routes by the Hupang River at Longhua Airport in Shanghai. Future commercial operations are planned for Shanghai, and the airport is considered an important base to develop Shanghai's low-altitude economy. The EH216S used in the demonstration flight was one of the electrical aerial vehicles Ehang delivered to its customers, Shanghai Henfar Aviation, which is focusing on eVTOL operations. The action plan for high-quality development of Shanghai low-altitude economy industry states a goal of achieving more than 100 low-altitude flight service commercial applications, including logistics, transportation, emergency rescue, cultural tourism, smart cities, and passenger transportation by 2027. Ehang has signed a long-term strategic partnership with Zhuhai Empower to co-develop high-performance electric motors for the Ehang eVTOL vehicle. The partnership aims to improve the performance of the Ehang fleet of EAVs using the Empower technology to refine the design of electric motors and motor controllers with the lighter weight, higher power density, superior cooling performance, and broader compatibility across Ehang's eVTOL models. Ehang also has flown a group of 12 EAVs together in China, and in this video right here, the 12 flying vehicles took off together from an airfield in Hefei, China on what appeared to be a very snowy day. Alright, so from that article right there, it sounds like Ehang is really moving full head of steam and making things happen not only in China but other parts of the world. Not only do they have partnerships in Europe, they are also making connections out in Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, Japan, and other parts of the world. So even though I've talked a lot within the previous months about Joby, Archer Aviation, a little bit of Whisk, and other companies building air taxis in different countries, we definitely can't forget about Ehang because this pilotless flight is a very, very important piece of news, and this could actually be the company that's going to be at the forefront of leading the air taxi revolution and being the model of progression that other companies are going to follow. So even though a lot of the bigger companies have a lot of big connections with Delta Airlines, United Airlines, Uber, and they have a lot of money that are backing them, when a company like Ehang Holdings is showing demonstrations like these, it's something that we can't look past, and it's something that we should definitely keep our eyes on. Now let's go ahead and move into the next article talking about ChargePoint being fed up with thieves. ChargePoint introduces 2 measures to battle EV charger theft and vandalization. Multi-continental EV charging network ChargePoint has introduced 2 new solutions to combat a looming threat for electric vehicle owners using public charging stations, vandalism, and theft. ChargePoint recently shared details of a new cut-resistant EV charging cable and a new alarm system to increase security and deter theft near the POW. The company introduced what it is calling the industry's first cut-resistant charging cable. ChargePoint says its team wielded its 15 years of experience in EV charging to design a cable with novel cut-resistant materials built into it to deter vandalism and theft. While the new cable is not completely cut-proof, it is significantly more difficult to vandalize and decommission while remaining flexible for drivers to use with ease. ChargePoint shared plans to roll out its new cut-resistant cables to all of its commercial and fleet charging stations and plans to selectively license its design to other charging station manufacturers in an industry-leading effort to combat cable theft and vandalism. In addition to the new EV cable, the company also introduced a new anti-theft charger alarm system called ChargePoint Protect. The new alarm system utilizes a ChargePoint charger's existing speakers, screens, and lighting components to create alerts and deter any would-be vandals. ChargePoint Protect is capable of detecting charging cable tampering in real time and can automatically engage its alarm system and can immediately push SMS and email notification to customers customers using a given station, as well as the owners of that POW. Law enforcement can also be alerted. Alright, so it looks like ChargePoint is looking to fight back against the thieves and vandals that are cutting their cables and bringing down their charging infrastructure. So I do wonder what's going to happen next with these cables, and if they are going to deter these thieves, or if the thieves are actually going to find other types of tools that are going to be strong enough to cut through these cables. Also, from another perspective, I think we can get to a point where some company, or maybe even ChargePoint, builds out some type of material that they can put around these charging cables, where if someone were to try to cut them, it would shock them, and then that will really give them the buzz that they need to rethink their decision. Now let's dive into our next article. Boda Systems partners with Canova to add sense of touch to AI robotics. Advances in perception promise to advance machine learning and robotic manipulation. Canova Incorporated last week announced that it has partnered with Boda Systems AG to bridge the simulation to reality gap with multimodal interaction sensing and accelerate robot development. Spun out of ETH Robotics Systems Lab in 2020, Boda Systems develops and manufactures multi-axis force torque sensors, and custom sensors. The Zurich, Switzerland-based company said its sensors give robots the sense of touch so they can move and work freely and safely in academic and industrial applications. Canova Robotics offers robotics for medical, industrial, assistive, and research use cases. The Quebec-based company has developed a lightweight and portable Gen 3 robotic manipulator. It said the integration of the Gen 3 Boda Systems Sense1 T15 force torque sensor will create a seamless and powerful solution for experimentation. The combination is intended to support end-to-end learning. Robotics developers can now order the robot kit with Boda Systems Sense1 sensor directly from Canova. The company said the system is designed for simplicity and ease of integration, taking just minutes to set up. Alright, so that's just some of the latest news related to these two companies within the robotics space, and it looks like within different aspects of the robotics field, different companies are working on different things, but step by step and little by little things are coming together, and this year we could possibly see our first humanoid robots walking amongst the population doing different tasks. Now let's move on to some more news related to robotics and Walmart. Symbiotic to acquire Walmart robotics unit for $200 million and build new systems. Symbiotic Incorporated announced that it will acquire Walmart's Incorporated's advanced systems and robotics business. The supply chain robotics company said the transaction expands its relationship with Walmart with the goal of developing an integrated supply chain. Walmart plans to pay Symbiotic a total of $520 million, including $230 million at closing for the development of the new systems. Walmart has chosen Symbiotic to develop, build, and deploy systems to offer Walmart customers greater shopping convenience through accelerated online pickup and delivery options at its stores. With Walmart's funding, Symbiotic will develop technologies to enhance current fulfillment systems and design new ones to meet customer needs. Symbiotic has helped Walmart automate its supply chain since 2017 and is currently deploying its platform across all 42 of Walmart's regional distribution centers in the U.S. It's said that applying its expertise to the APD is a natural extension of its collaboration and will help Walmart stores fulfill e-commerce orders more efficiently, economically, and accurately. Alright, so that's just an update related to this company Symbiotic and also Walmart and the integration of robotics within the supply chain space. Throughout the year, I'm sure we're going to hear more and more about different companies integrating this technology or enhancing the already robotic technology that they have within their supply chain. And over time throughout this year, we're going to see what type of impact that's going to have on the workforce, not only here in the US, but in other parts of the world. Now let's go ahead and move into the next article related to air taxis, but speaking specifically about vertiports. Flying taxi vertiport company acquired by airport operator. Airport network operator Atlantic Aviation has acquired Ferrovio Vertiports, a global infrastructure company advancing Atlantic Aviation's plans to create an infrastructure for advanced air mobility AAM operations. The plan is to incorporate FTOL infrastructure expertise into the fixed base operator industry. Vertiports are needed for the electric aerial vehicles to take off and land, manage passengers, and for the flying vehicles to be charged and maintained. Ferrovio Vertiport recently partnered with Urban Link Air Mobility, a South Florida AAM startup, to develop sites for the takeoff and landing landing and charging of EAVs. UrbanLink had agreed to purchase 20 eVTOL jets from Lilium to operate the flying vehicles in South Florida. Personally, I look forward to going to one of these vertiports and being able to walk around and see the different eVTOLs, the different EAVs, the different aircrafts taking off from these vertiports and also landing, and just getting that experience of something different from the takeoff and landing that we typically see from airplanes and helicopters. Also with these vertiports, I'm interested to see how big they're going to be, what's going to be included in them on the inside, what type of people are going to be there, how many people are going to be there, what the pricing is going to look like when it comes to being able to take a ride within one of these eVTOLs or these air taxis or these EAVs. So I'm sure as the year progresses and things move along, hopefully the progression that's happening with Ehang Holdings is going to be implemented not only for this company, but other companies building out air taxis and also vertiports here in the US and around the globe. And in our next article, we have an update from Amazon and their drones. Amazon puts its drone deliveries on hold following 2 crash incidents. Amazon's drones won't be making any deliveries in the foreseeable future. According to Bloomberg, the company has paused all commercial drone deliveries in Texas and Arizona after a previously undisclosed event which 2 of Amazon's Mk-30 drones had crashed at a Pendleton, Oregon airport it uses for testing. Amazon reportedly determined that its drones crashed due to a software issue that's linked to the light rain drizzling at the time the tests were being conducted. The company said, however, that the crashes weren't the primary reason why it's putting its drones deliveries on hold. Amazon spokesperson Sam Stephenson told Bloomberg that it's currently in the process of making software changes to the drone and that the operational pause is voluntary. After the updates are completed, Amazon still has to secure an approval from the FAA before it can resume its operations. Alright, so I thought it was important to bring you this article because I've talked about Amazon drones in the past, and I've been talking about for a while how drones are going to also play a key part in transforming the delivery space. All in all, I still do believe that, even though that's happening here where they are putting those drones on pause here in the US, it doesn't mean that they are going to stop their testing out in other parts of the world, and also it doesn't mean that other companies who are testing drones for deliveries are going to be stopping their testing out in other parts of the world. Even when we see things put on hold here in the US, we always have to remember that technology is global and drones are global, and when one company is halting and pausing things, another company somewhere else around the world is continuing to move full head of steam and progressing towards their goal. So that's just some of the latest news when it comes to the world of technology, and of course I hope you enjoyed this video, and to continue to stay informed, check out these 2 videos right here. Do me a favor and let me know what you think, and stay tuned for the next video.